This is Kelly Hill, technology reporter for RCR Wireless News. I'm here today with Keith Radousky, CTO for Quintel Americas. And we are going to be talking about some of the key takeaways from your panel at LTE North America. So let's go ahead and start there. This is the antenna day, antenna focus, and what are you seeing in the industry?
Well, thank you for asking the question. So what we're seeing is a huge shift to more ports per antenna. We began with one port in the 80s, 2 ports in the 90s, then 4 ports, and then up until a couple years ago, really there were only 4-port antennas. And what we're seeing was a quick migration to 6 ports. When I say 6, I'm thinking 2 ports for low band and 4 for the high band. And then we went from 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 in a year. We're now selling all of those products. And when I say a 12-port antenna, I'm saying 2 700, 2 850, 4 1900, 4 AWS and WCS bands. And the reason we need all these ports is we still have 2G up. We've got 3G that's still up. We've got 4G that's growing into more bands and more advanced MIMO schemes. So it's all about, in fact, we see about 40 to 50 ports needed per sector for the big tier 1 operators here in North America. So right now, if they've got maybe 20 ports, that needs more than double. And again, it's got to be practical sized antennas that the towers won't go boop when you put them up, that they're not so big. So it's all about normal form factor, easy to upgrade, and that perform well. We also talked a lot about PIM. PIM is passive intermodulation. Whenever you put 2 frequencies in anything, you get these products. And you want to make sure these products aren't harmful. If they're above the noise floor and then in your receive band, it takes away capacity. Kind of like when you're talking and you hear yourself speak, you might not think too well, like me sometimes. But anyway, so PIM is a big issue, which is all about quality. That's another key discussion point.
Now, one of the things that came up today was the transition to a new connector.
Yes.
4310. Tell
Yes.
us a little bit about what's happening with that and why it's happening, and how that's shifting.
Well, the timing couldn't be great for the industry or for Quintel. The 4.3-10 connector is much smaller than the traditional connector and has a higher PIM performance. And in fact, when we were designing our 12-port antenna, we were going to have 8 on the bottom and 4 on the back, which would have been a nightmare for installation and all kinds of different reasons. But by pure luck, it wasn't our doing. The operators pushed us to do 4.3-10, and in fact, we're shipping product this year. To my knowledge, I can't say for sure, the first manufacturer to ship product to a tier 1 with the 4.3-10. Again, much smaller and much better performance.
Now, one of the other things that was sort of touched on is sort of the evolution of what's going on in terms of network architecture, Cloud RAN, small cells, et cetera. So you have some interesting things to say. Fill us in on how you see small cells and Cloud RAN evolving.
Sure, thank you. So Cloud RAN means a lot of different things, a lot of different people, and small cells mean different things. So I'm going to say this, that small cells, as they've been talked about, in my opinion, personal opinion, are dead. And what I mean by dead are a 1 watt or half watt Omni pizza box that you put up on a light post or side of a building. Why are they dead? They have a very small coverage area, and you still have all the fixed costs of the backhaul and paying rent and the maintenance and all those things. So my vision that I've been really evangelizing now for about a year is to use small panel antennas, maybe 4-foot antennas, with high power radios. You can always turn the power down. Okay, you can't turn 1 watt radios up, but you can turn a 45 watt radio down, and use new siting models. There's a new company called EcoSite that's got 20,000 convenience stores for a lot less rent than a conventional site, to do essentially adding sectors using your existing macros, essentially adding more baseband there, than adding a 4th, a 5th, 6th sector remotely around every macro in the urban and suburban areas. It's sort of a DAS, but a different twist, because you've already got the backhaul going to the macro, that investment. And so on the new location, all you need is a pipe with either a Quintel 4-foot antenna and a radio, and then a power supply. And you can either come to it with fiber with front haul, or there's also a company called eBlink that offers a radio that can carry 7.5 gigabits per second, 3 CPR links up to a quarter mile from the macro. So that's front haul. So when you take front haul and new settings, availabilities, and then the multi-port antennas, and then ultimately also centralized baseband. Intel is very into massive centralized baseband, and then going off with front haul. So Cloud RAN to me is higher power sectorized versus low power omni, from a TCO and even unit cost perspective.
Great. Well, Keith, thanks so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks, Kelly.